Okay, should be good to go.
Great, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. The meeting of the State Allocation Board is called to order, and pursuant to AB 361, we're meeting obviously by Zoom, and it's also being broadcast in room 6300 at the Ziggurat Building in West Sacramento for anyone that wants to provide public comment in person. Just a couple guidelines. One, all attendees will be muted during the meeting. If any member of the public would like to make a comment on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature in the Zoom application, and I will call your name at the appropriate time, and OPSC staff at that time will unmute you. So please let us do that. If you are calling into the meeting and not using the Zoom app, unfortunately, you will not be able to provide public comment at this time. First, I'd love to invite Senator Laird to our board. Senator, we're thrilled to have you. It's wonderful to have your expertise, especially around building and procedures, and also your knowledge of the administration because of your service, obviously, all over the state in the Senate and the Assembly, and also in Governor Brown's administration. So thank you for agreeing to join us. I hope you find it enjoyable and realize all the amazing things we're doing to serve the kids in our state. So with that, we will establish a quorum. Ms. Jones, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, I will.
Thank
Senator
you.
Wilk, Senator Leyva, Senator Laird.
Here.
Assemblymember O'Donnell.
Here.
Assemblymember Burke. Assemblymember Mays. Juan Morales.
Here.
Ana Lasso.
Present.
Jeremy Smith.
Here.
Gail Miller.
Here, we have a quorum. Thank you very much. The first order of business are the minutes from October 27th. Any public comments? Seeing none, any questions? I will move approval of the minutes. Do we have a second?
O'Donnell, second.
Thanks, Mr. O'Donnell. Ms. Jones, will you call the roll on the minutes, please?
Yes, I will. Senator Laird. Assemblymember O'Donnell.
Aye.
Juan Morales.
Aye.
Jeremy Smith.
Aye.
Ana Lasso.
Aye.
Gail Miller.
Aye. Senator, do you want to vote on the minutes? Since you weren't here, are you abstaining?
I actually voted aye. I guess it didn't get picked up.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. Yeah, we didn't hear you. Thank you for that. Okay, the minutes are adopted. Next, we'll move to the executive officer statement, please, Ms. Silverman.
Yes, we have a few things to share tonight, and just happy to announce that with relation to the general fund that will be appropriated from the Budget Act. The announcement is that we'll be bringing forward apportionments in January of 2022, so that's exciting news. But we also wanted to acknowledge that there is an action item that we're seeking in the agenda to make some slight modifications as a result of the regulations that was adopted in September by the board. We've received feedback from the Office of Administrative Law, and they're asking for some additional language revisions in the regulations that the board did approve. So with that is tucked away as an action item, but it won't falter or delay any appropriations that we plan to take place in January. So just wanted to highlight that. And we currently have a priority filing funding round currently open, and it closes December 9th. And so any district that has an unfunded approval, just realize that there's a certification process in order for you to access program cash. Very critical. So in order for you to get appropriated for the general fund proceeds that we have, and also for the spring bond sale. So the close of that filing round is December 9th. So we encourage districts to submit that via certification via OPSC online, or you have until 11:59 on December 9th to submit that to our office. And those certifications will be valid from January 1st of 2022 to June 30th. So any funds that we receive during that time frame, you'll have the ability to access our program cash. Our next announcement, we wanted to share that we did actually have a facility inspection tool stakeholder meeting, and that was on November 30th. We actually had about 65 participants and received a lot of great feedback from the stakeholder community. So again, we have announced our next meeting is January 20th, 2022. And so that will be held between 4 and 6 p.m. So again, looking to get more feedback on the updates of the facility inspection tool. So again, it was great dialogue that day. And then the last update I wanted to share was the transitional kindergarten and preschool program that is extended to the full day kinder. With the $490 million, we will be presenting the board some adoption of the program timelines and the regulation changes to expand that program. That will be brought forward to the January board. There is a slight modification to the proposal of the timeline of opening the first filing round. We initially thought March of 2022, but it will be, we're actually the board to take action for an April of 2022 start date. And the goal is also to have our OPSC online feature as a full day kinder application process. So we're excited about that and looking forward to bringing that to the board in January. And then besides our next board meeting on January 26th, I did want to make an announcement, and it's exciting. In 2022, we wanted to kick off a joint agency presentation, and that is with the Department of Education and the Division of State Architect combined with Office of Public School Construction. And so we're excited about this new opportunity in 2022 to continue to provide outreach education to our stakeholders. And so look forward to that to happen sometime early February. And with that, I'll open it up to the board.
Great, thank you very much. Are there any questions from the boards? The board, there's only one of us. No, any public comment? Nope. Okay, seeing none, thank you, Ms. Silverman, very much. Next, we'll move to the consent agenda.
Consent's ready for your approval.
Great, any questions on consent?
O'Donnell, move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. O'Donnell. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Lasso. Any
30 seconds.
Thank you, Senator. Anyone in the public? Just checking one more time. Thank you, Ms. Burke and Mr. Mays, for joining us. We'll open the roll now for the consent agenda, please, Ms. Jones.
Senator Laird.
Aye.
Thank you.
Did you hear?
Assemblymember O'Donnell.
Aye.
Assemblymember Burke. Assemblymember Mays.
Aye.
Juan Morales.
Aye.
Jeremy Smith.
Aye.
Ana Lasso.
Aye.
Gail Miller.
Aye, and we'll leave that roll open. It looks like Assemblymember Burke is not yet connected to audio. So we'll
Madam
leave that
Chair,
open. Yes.
do we want to go back to the minutes real quick, or do we want to wait?
May we wait, please, Ms. Jones, just until Ms. Burke is able to join? I see it still says connecting to audio. So as soon as we, oh, Ms. Burke, are you connected to audio? Not yet. Okay, we'll move on to the financial reports, please, Ms. Silverman.
Yes, I just want to draw your attention to page 187, and that's our status of our fund releases. And we have no fund releases to report back in October. That's great news because we dispensed a lot of cash during the spring bond sale, and that's good. So we're carrying forward. And to that extent, for the status of funds, we just want to recognize in the consent agenda, there was nearly $205 million that was approved as part of the consent agenda. So that's great news for the program. A lot of busy work here to allocate program grants, so that's great news. And then as far as that closeout and rescissions, we have nearly $12 million coming back to the program. So I just want to share that tonight.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions? Seeing none, we're just going to open the roll for the minutes and the consent agenda. Ms. Burke, can you hear us? I wonder if we should go to the appeals first, just so we can open them all up at the same time. So I think we'll go first to Ms. Kampminer and the Long Beach USD Los Angeles appeal, please. Ms. Kampminer?
Yeah, thank you. So we do have one appeal on our agenda today for Long Beach Unified, and it is requesting to reinstate the unfunded approval for a career technical education facilities grant program project at the Jordan High School site. It's in the amount of just under $1.4 million. We have the full timeline on pages 221 and 222 of the agenda, but to cover some of the key time points, this project initially received approval from the board in 2019, and it's been progressing through the planning process. The project was apportioned in September 2019, and for our career tech projects, once they receive that apportionment, it starts a 12-month deadline to submit the approvals from the state architect and from the Department of Education. And so that would have put them at about September 2020 to get those documents to OPSC. As we all know, 2020 was a busy year. We had the pandemic hit during that time period. And in August 2020, the district did submit an extension request using the regulations that the board had approved to assist districts that were impacted by COVID, so that we would have the ability to extend the regulatory or OPSC deadlines so that projects would not be negatively impacted. The district had requested for a 12-month extension, and consistent with other approvals at the time, the extension was granted for 6 months until March of 2021. And the reason we're here today is, unfortunately, the deadline was missed. The approvals were not submitted for this project. There were 3 projects at the time. 2 of them did make that cutoff, but this project did not yet have its CDE plan approval in place. And once that deadline has expired, the project automatically rescinds. There's no further action required to rescind it, just it's done at that point. And OPSC staff cannot administratively reinstate project approvals, only the board has that ability. So through the appeal process, the district has provided additional information that, in hindsight, had OPSC known this information back at the initial extension time period, or even during that 6-month time period, it may have led to a longer initial extension approval, or perhaps a second extension approval. We've had some districts that have requested to have a second extension approval. Overall, the extension process has been working very well. We're over 500, getting close to 600 extension requests that have gone through, and the process itself seems to be working very well. This appears to be just a bit of a one-off situation on this project, but we are past the point of being able to administratively grant any other extensions because the project at this point has been rescinded. The district does appear to have experienced some impacts from COVID. Some other things have played in as well. But at this point, staff is seeking board direction on how to address this project that did not meet its deadlines. If the board chooses to grant the approval, then it would reinstate this project to unfunded approval status, and the district would then be able to participate in the next priority funding process to receive cash at that point. And with that, we do have the district with us today to speak on behalf of their project. So if there are no questions for me, I can turn it over to the district.
Great, thank you very much, Ms. Kampminer. We did have one panelist raise their hands. I'm sorry, Amy Gosine. I'm really sorry I didn't get you earlier. We can promote you if you'd like to speak. And then we'll go to Long Beach. Miss Gosine, I'm sorry, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing your name. Forgive me.
Okay, I got that was by error. My apologies.
Oh, no worries. Great. Thank you. Okay, so now we will move to the Long Beach. We have a couple folks from Long Beach, the district's Executive Director of Facilities Development and Planning, David Miranda, and the district's Business Services Administrator, Alan Reesing. If you both want to unmute yourselves, and whoever wants to go first, just to make a few, couple brief comments, please.
Yes, thank you so much. I'll go ahead and lead things off on our behalf and then turn things over to Ellen, and I'll be brief in my comments as well. So first and foremost, thank you to everybody on the State Allocation Board, all the members, as well as OPSC staff, for granting us a little time on this agenda to speak to this item. This item is really important to us, just as this project is as well, right? So Jordan High School, first a little context. Jordan High School really resides within the northern part of our district boundary, which historically has been underserved and historically disadvantaged. We've done quite a bit of work over at Jordan High School with respect to their campus improvements from about 2014 on through today, adding a number of new classroom buildings, renovating some buildings, and there's plans to continue to transform this campus going forward. This particular project where we applied for career tech funds is for our Aspirations in Medical Science Academy at this particular school site. Of course, we take great interest in developing this project for the students of Jordan High School, not just to keep pace with their peers and counterparts across our other high schools in the district, but to keep pace with those across the state and the nation, right? Modern building, classroom facilities, state-of-the-art technology and enhancements with respect to health sciences. So really proud and really want to see this project continue to push forward. And you were right on in terms of the delays and the impacts we experienced with respect to COVID, extenuating circumstances, different and just a unique time frame for all of us. And of course, Long Beach Unified and our facility staff was not immune to those issues. Staff was really stretched with a district our size with 85 plus schools and close to 70,000 students. We were really pulled in multiple directions, primarily with respect to social distance classroom planning in anticipation of getting students back in their seats, but also some work with respect to just COVID-related matters, be it entry checkpoints or screening procedures for schools, really serving as that resource for every one of our campuses. With that's just it for my introductory comments. I'll let Alan finish off with additional comments as well.
Yeah, thank you, David, and thank you. I'm sorry.
No, please go ahead.
I'll make it extremely brief. Thank you. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to come in and address you today on this very important project for Long Beach Unified School District. To really kind of like boil it down, I really think that this comes to a real question of the impact that we experience as it relates to the COVID response. Like many of us across the nation and the world, we were dealing with a very dynamic and constantly changing landscape as we were working through how our district was going to respond to the challenges that were being faced in front of us and do things like close a district for the first time that I've ever had to do that, and adjust to the constantly changing rules and regulations to try to work towards reopening a district. And ultimately that resulted in some difficulties with us continuing a robust round of communication with our partners in OPSC. So clearly the information provided to the panel and even Ms. Campanert had mentioned that the facts of our particular application do seem to warrant an additional extension to be able to meet the requirements. And this really boils down to a communication challenge that we recognize that I think we were all dealing with as we were managing through this project. So really, I will just appeal to you and say, I don't know that a lack of communication really justifies the losing of a very needy project and a very warranted project for some of our most deserving students and our underserved students of our district. So we do ask you to reconsider this and give the district the opportunity to participate in this program and return us back to the unfunded list where we will gladly wait our turn for availability of funds. So thank you very much for an opportunity to speak.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Well, my mom always told me it's only a mistake if you don't learn from it. So I do think that we all had a lot of learnings, and it sounds as though, with the team at OPSC, it's been a lesson learned. So I really appreciate that. Mr. O'Donnell?
Yes, thank you. I'll be short. And I just want to thank the staff for working with Long Beach Unified on this potential appeal. And just speak to that is a very high need school up there, Jordan High School in Long Beach. And this is a project that will help students move forward in that community. And there it is.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. O'Donnell. Ms. Lasso?
Certainly. Thank you for your words, Mr. Reesing. I do think communication is critical, and I really thank the OPSC staff for working closely with you. Deadlines are important, and I know that the circumstances are beyond all of us. I mean, we've all gone through a lot, but the project is worthy, and though there's been unusual times, I would not object to approving the appeal, but I just encourage ongoing communication and meeting deadlines moving forward.
Thank you for that, Ms. Lasso. I agree. Any other questions? Any other public comment? Mr. O'Donnell, do you want to move approval?
The O'Donnell moves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Lasso. Ms. Jones, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, I will. Senator Laird?
Aye.
Thank you. Assemblymember O'Donnell?
Aye. Yeah.
O'Donnell, aye.
Assemblymember Burke?
Aye.
Assemblymember May?
Aye.
Juan Morales,
Aye.
Jeremy Smith,
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Aye.
Thank you. Ana Lasso,
Aye.
Gail Miller.
Aye. Thank you very much, and congratulations
Thank
to
you.
Long Beach. And please come back when you have a successful project completed. We look forward to hearing about it. Before we move on, I just, Ms. Burke, can you hear us? I just wondered if we could
Yes.
open. Great, thank you so much. Can we go ahead and open the roll for the minutes, please, Ms. Jones, and the consent calendar?
Yes. Assemblymember Burke, how do you vote on the minutes and consent calendar?
Aye.
Thank you. And Assemblymember Mays, I believe we just need you to tell us how you vote on the minutes.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Our next item today is the proposed regulatory amendments to the school facility program, Ms. Silverman.
Yes, just wanted to highlight that the regulations were originally approved back in September. And again, it's just to clarify when the board can waive the 30-day filing provision specified in the school facilities program regulation, .1859.2, subsection E. So again, the proposed language that we have is on page 224. There's a side-by-side of the original language that we proposed and the amendment to that language. And based on the Office of Administrative Law feedback, we wanted to present those amendments as attachment A and present those to the board for approval, and also ask for emergency filing on that regulation change.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Mr. O'Donnell, is your hand still up from the previous item, or do you have a question on the regs?
No, that should not be up. I thought I took it down.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else with any questions? Any public comment on the regulations?
O'Donnell moves.
Great, thank you very much. I will second. Ms. Jones, will you take the roll, please? Oh, Ms. Jones, you're muted.
How did that happen? Senator Laird.
Laird, aye.
Thank you. Assemblymember O'Donnell.
O'Donnell, aye.
Assemblymember Burke.
Burke, aye.
Assemblymember Mays.
Aye.
Juan Morales.
Aye.
Jeremy Smith.
Aye.
Ana Lasso.
Aye.
Gail Miller.
Aye, the regulations are adopted. Next, we'll move to the charter schools facility program preliminary apportionment amendment. Say that 5 times fast. Ms. Kampminer.
All right. Yes, thank you. We are excited to be presenting this item to the board. There is an opportunity here for the board to assist the charter school, managing the charter school in Lompoc Unified School District in enabling them to be able to participate in the federal public schools on military installations program. And we've had a couple projects before the board since 2010 where school districts have sites located on military installations have an opportunity to partner with the federal government on an 80-20 sharing basis, where the federal government's providing 80% and the state and local partnership is 20%, in really addressing the neediest of schools that have facilities challenges on the bases. So this has been a great partnership with the federal program throughout the years. This is the first time that we have had an opportunity to explore matching share through the charter school facilities program, but Manzanita Charter School had originally been approved by the board several years ago before knowing about this opportunity with the PSMI grant. They had a preliminary apportionment provided so that they could do some work to rehabilitate some of the space on the campus. Now, the entire campus was of age and eligible to participate in the charter school facilities program at the time. However, it came down to the charter school needed to make a responsible decision about how much could go towards the match and how much of their budget was necessary for operating the charter school. So the project scope was based on affordability, not necessarily the facility need. With the ability to use the federal program to as a partner in this project, there is an opportunity to rehabilitate the entire campus in addition to the federal project, including some additional new construction areas on the site as well. But what we are asking for consideration for the board today, it's a number of things that will help make this process work. So right now, the preliminary apportionment amount that the charter school has from the state is just a little bit over $500,000, anticipating a little over a $700,000 project with a couple $100,000 that was originally pledged by the charter school. However, that's not going to come anywhere close to the 20% match for the much larger scale project that would be available under the federal program. That's upwards of 35 million. So there is a tremendous opportunity here. So we are asking if the board would consider increasing the preliminary apportionment amount for this project to encompass the entire square footage of the existing site that was eligible at the time the application was originally submitted. And what that would do is bring this project's preliminary apportionment up to about 6.5 million using today's dollars. And that is going to be very, very close to the required 20% match for the PSMI grant. And it is early phases with the federal program, so there's definitely some time down the line to figure out any sort of gaps in funding there, but this is going to largely cover the required matching share. The OPSC staff doesn't have any concerns with expanding it given the uniqueness of this opportunity with the federal funds, and also because the site was of age at the time the application was submitted. So there's no there are no buildings that are now eligible that would not have qualified back when the application was originally submitted. So we're not seeing any conflict there. We also do have bond authority available in the charter school program. We actually are showing on our 90-day calendar that we'll be coming back to you next month to talk about that item. But there is sufficient bond authority to make this increase in the preliminary apportionment. If the board is supportive of that action, we have a couple other corresponding things that are being requested. One of which is an immediate fund release outside of the priority funding process for the additional design funds that would be available to the charter school and the school district. The original design funds were based off of the original project scope. It's a percentage of that total project cost. And so now with a much larger scope, the design funding could be released to enable the district to move forward with this project. And we are asking for the immediate fund release because the district and the charter school are really on the clock on this project. In the charter school program, there is a 4-year time period for preliminary apportionments with the possibility of a 1-year extension. And this is a statutory requirement. So this 5-year maximum time period cannot be waived by the board or by OPSC staff. So we have to work within that timeline. Typically, these 1-year extension requests go in the consent calendar, but what we're trying to do here is put all of the asks into this one item just to keep everything in one spot. So OPSC staff does believe that the extension request meets the criteria for the program to be granted this additional 1 year. So this kind of goes together. So we need an approval of the 1-year extension request, which is going to get us in January of 2023, expedited funding for the rest of that design so that the cash can be released so that the district and the charter school can get moving and have the architect design the new scope for this project in time to meet that January 2023 deadline. And then we are also requesting that the applicant be changed from the charter school to the school district. The charter school and the school district have agreed to this. This is going to be the best fit for the federal program guidelines. At the local level, the details of how that partnership works has been worked out and memorialized in an MOU document. And then our last recommendation is a contingent recommendation. So we have a couple of these that are only necessary if the federal funds do come through. And we are not expecting any issues with the approval, the formal approval from the federal program, but there is a bit of a timing issue there with our board meeting being so early this month. And we actually have kind of a big gap in our board meetings, right? We are not our traditional 4 weeks out, but we're closer to 6 weeks out. The charter school and the district are expecting that federal approval to come through very quickly. And we'd like to have the state allocation board approval in place if the board chooses to support this, so that the district can immediately start drawing down on those funds once the federal approval is in hand. So we do request support on the recommendations, and we have a representative from both the district and the charter school here if there are any questions for them or for me. And with that, I'll hand it back over to you.
Great, thank you very much. I had the pleasure with Ms. Morellis of hearing this at the CSFA, and it's really a fantastic story. I'd love for Ms. Nicastro and Mr. Sorum to really speak to how you collaborated, as well as with the military, with the charter, with the district. It's really a great story. So please go ahead, whoever wants to start.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, and thank you all for considering the proposal today to approve the increase of Manzanita Public Charter Schools Prop 51 Facilities Grant. My name is Suzanne Nicastro, and I'm in the 8th year of leading Manzanita as the superintendent principal of our grades TK6 charter of 445 students located on Vandenberg Space Force Base. I'm also the individual who wrote the original Prop 51 grant for the LEA. And I'm going to take this moment just really quickly to introduce Doug Sorum, who's also on this Zoom. He's the Assistant Superintendent of Business Services for Lompoc Unified School District. And he has been and is a key partner as a school leader for the charters authorizing LEA, which is Lompoc Unified, and has encouraged and supported Manzanita with its original Prop 51 application. So Doug and I are going to be briefly partnering to tell you a little bit about our school, as well as the journey, because as you heard from Barbara, it's been quite a journey to get to this place where we're presenting to you today, and we're so excited. Just a few quick facts that I'd like to share with you about our charter. So Manzanita's whole child educational philosophy has evolved over time to include an award-winning performing and visual arts program, an outdoor education model designed from a lower grade trip that we took to Finland right before the pandemic hit, a STEM robotics program, WIN Time, which is short for What I Need, and involves a complex master schedule intervention approach to meet the needs of our significant number of socioeconomically disadvantaged scholars, as well as an evolving special education inclusion model, which complements our WIN Time. So prior to the pandemic, Manzanita had adopted something called the DESA program, which is a social emotional screening tool that identifies scholars who need small group counseling in order to achieve at grade level standards. DESA SEL program has been hugely successful in helping with social emotional needs of our socioeconomically disadvantaged Lompoc community. And the charter school is in its 12th year of operation and was designated as a gold ribbon school by the California Department of Ed in 2018. But as Barbara mentioned, in 2016, it was recognized that Manzanita's facilities could not sustain a healthy future for our growing programs. At that time, when we had applied for the Prop 51 grant, the need was so much greater than was illustrated in the original application, but the 50-50 match was a financial barrier that Manzanita just could not overcome. We wanted to be responsible fiduciary recipients of the grant. So the OPCS office assisted us with scaling down our project to meet the greatest needs, and Manzanita's grant was awarded in January of 2018. It represented a modest version of the facility needs which existed, but was in line with what Manzanita could also afford. Upon hearing of grant approval, Manzanita immediately hired an architect, and in July of 2018, we began our first project by painting the entire campus. In spring of 2019, design plans emerged for a new kitchen and an NPR renovation. And that's where I'm going to stop, and then turn it over to my partner, Doug Sorum, and he's going to share a little bit about what happened once we learned of the PSMI grant.
Great.
Hey, hello, everybody. Doug Sorum.
You just want to keep it brief, Mr. Sorum. I think we're
we running out of time?
Yes, please.
Sorry.
Okay. Oh, no
worries.
That's quite all right. So just a little bit about the district. We serve about 9,000 students out of 17 locations. And so 4 of our schools are constructed on the federal property out at Vandenberg, which the district leases that land from the DOD. One of those 4 sites is now Manzanita, which is an independent charter who leases the building from the district. And those buildings at Manzanita were constructed in 1961. So not surprisingly, as school buildings get older, they have to be modernized in order to continue to house our students in clean, comfortable, and safe facilities, and where the students have access to modern technology. And so, as you know, local geo bonds are the mechanism used most frequently for that purpose. Since construction of Lompoc schools, we passed only 1 bond. It was a modest $38 million measure in 2002. which was primarily used to reconfigure our sites for ADA accessibility. And a small amount of those funds were used to address some of the worst facility issues at the time. And so up until about 2006, that site where Manzanita Charter is now located, it was utilized by the district. And not unlike today, at the turn of the century, our enrollment was in decline. The buildings at this site were highly underutilized, and so none of the Measure M bond funding was used to modernize or upgrade that school. One result of that is that the facility needs at Manzanita today are significantly greater than those at our other locations. So in recent years, the district's placed 3 bonds on local ballots. In each election, a majority of local voters cast their ballots in favor of the measure. However, each one failed to meet either the Prop 39 or Prop 46 threshold. So in the spring of 2020, Manzanita and the district learned that we could be recipients of an 80-20 matching PSMI facilities grant from the Department of Defense. That grant's based on the fact that the campus is located on federal land at Vandenberg, and the condition of the facility was rated as a Q4, which is the lowest rating of the PSMI grant. Q4 indicates the facility is in failing condition. There's serious deficiencies which have been identified, and multiple building systems are well beyond their useful life, although most are marginally functional. So between May and October of 2020, Manzanita, the district, the Department of Defense, OPSC, we all teamed up and started working together to review the Prop 51 allocation to determine if it could be expanded to address the 20% match requirement of the PSMI award. And what we learned was that Manzanita could apply to the allocation board for an increase in charter school funds, which would then sufficiently cover the 20% match. That expansion is based on the site's eligibility to modernize all of its buildings using 2020 grant amounts. Then in January of this year, we finalized an MOU between the district and Manzanita, which reflected our desire to work together and to collaborate on the PSMI program for the Manzanita site, for our students, for the military population at Vandenberg, and for the Lompoc community as a whole. And so among other things, the MOU outlines the district and Manzanita's desire to utilize the Prop 51 grant to its fullest potential. And so that really brings us to why we're here today. And so both Suzanne and I want to thank you for your time and your consideration. And of course, we are happy to entertain any questions or discussion if so desired.
Great, thank you so much. And congratulations again on the true definition of teamwork and really finding a way to make this successful for the students and the populations that you're working with. Any questions from the board? Any?
O'Donnell has a question.
Yes, Mr. O'Donnell.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that this school is committed to equity as part of its mission, and that its student population reflects that of the community it serves. If someone could speak to that.
Ms. Nicastro, do you want to answer that question?
I certainly can, and I can. We definitely are committed to equity. Our demographics here at the site are approximately 30% military dependents who are quite diverse, and we have over 55% socioeconomically disadvantaged, which definitely reflects the Lompoc community, and we definitely have demographics which reflect our local area, and have for 12 years.
Does that answer? Does that answer your question, Mr. O'Donnell?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, any other public comment? Great, do we have a motion to approve? So again, this is a 4-part motion. If you just take the staff recommendation, it will encompass all 4. So
recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Mays. Is there a second?
I'll second. It's Autumn.
Thank you, Ms. Burke. So we have a motion and a second, and to be clear, this motion encompassed all 4 of the all 4 pieces that Ms. Camp-Minert spoke to that are all listed in the packet. So with that, Ms. Jones, will you call the roll?
Yes. Senator Laird.
Laird, aye.
Assemblymember O'Donnell.
O'Donnell, aye.
Assemblymember Burke.
Aye.
Assemblymember Mays,
Aye.
Juan Morales,
Aye.
Jeremy Smith,
Aye.
Ana Lasso,
Aye.
Gail Miller.
Aye. Yay, that measure passes. Good luck. Please keep us posted. Enjoy. Thank you for all your work on this and work together. We really appreciate it. Our last item, Ms. Silverman, is the 3-month workload.
Yes, we have the 3-month workload. I'm not sure if we have any questions with that. And I believe, Gail, we may have some public comments.
Yeah, so before we adjourn the meeting, we have just general public comment. So this is public comment for items not on the agenda. So for San Pasqual Valley USD, this is the time to address the board. So for any reason, and I think we have Katrina Leon. So if you want to please join us, and you can address the board for any issue not on the agenda today.
Hello.
Leon, can you hear us?
I can.
Great. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Katrina Johnson-Leon. I'm the superintendent of the San Pasqual Valley Unified School District, which is not the one near Escondido. We are actually right next to Yuma, Arizona, within 2 miles of Yuma, Arizona. The closest California city is an hour away, so we're geographically isolated, which has led to some huge increases in a construction project that we have going as a result of COVID, in addition to the geographical isolation. We are replacing a gym, and I will just say that I'm an alumni of the high school here, so walking back and seeing that, coming back and seeing that there was a new gym being built in the middle of COVID was amazing. When I stepped into the old gym, it was kind of a flashback to when I graduated here 30 plus years ago. So it's definitely a need. We wanted to talk to you a little bit about those costs that are associated with trying to do any construction project in a COVID situation, of which none of us expected. So because of the isolation, we're surrounded by native lands. So we're literally like an island surrounded by the Quetzal Indian Reservation, which adds another layer. And what we were hoping for is a consideration in terms of, we were approved by funding from the state in order to do this construction project, but we have seen increases from 10% to 20% due to labor, equipment, materials, you name it, there's been a cost increase. So we just wanted to bring that to the forefront and hopefully get some percentage in addition to what we had already been approved for, because of all of the reasons I mentioned. And I don't want to keep you guys on, but we do have Jeff, who is also here with us, our facilities, to speak more in detail and to be able to give you some specifics. I'm very much, the overview, and I can see it when I'm passing by. That type of thing. But there are a lot of small districts in similar situations with very big construction projects going on that the pandemic just crushed us financially in terms of trying to do what we had originally planned well for fiscally, and with these additional costs just really hurting us.
Great, thank you, Ms. Leon. So this isn't, obviously it's not on the agenda, so this isn't there's no way the board can take action on this.
No, I understand that. It's just more of an FYI, keep in mind.
Great, thank you very much. I'm going to turn it to Mr. O'Donnell and then to Mr. Blodorn, but very briefly. Mr. O'Donnell?
I would just direct her to OPSC staff to see if there is anything that can be done.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Mr. Blodorn, do you want to make any additional comments? I think, as Mr. O'Donnell says, it would make sense to go to the team at OPSC first before coming to the board. So,
yeah, agreed. What we didn't want to do is forego the appeal process. However, we were a little bit nervous that we would get funding perhaps in January, and then as we went back and requested to get funding that would be applicable to the 2022 funding mechanism, the means standardization. What we didn't want to do is miss that opportunity. So we're not trying to jump out of line or try to raise feathers or anything like that. But what we wanted to do was see if if that even is a possibility, to try and get the funding that is applicable to the 22. I'm hoping that.
Unfortunately, it's not something that the board would be able to answer, and it's actually not an action that we can take because you're not listed on the agenda. This is,
Okay.
this is the type of work that you go through the regulatory process and the team at OPSC for.
Okay.
And then I really, and as you've probably heard from all of the previous appeals and action items, this is the team that really works with all the districts to really work within. And then so I definitely think that's the right way to go before elevating a board like this.
No
So
problem.
Thank you for your public participation, but please contact Ms. Kempmeyer or Ms. Silverman, and they will be happy to assist you in the district.
Fantastic. Thank you for the opportunity. I apologize.
Yeah, and congrats on the new gym. That's exciting.
Thank you.
Take care. Okay, with that, any final questions or comments? Any other public comment? Anyone for any reason? Seeing none, happy holidays. Thank you everyone for an amazing 2021 and a long process with COVID, but really always an honor to work with this team. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.